Hello, my name is Mark Racine, and I'm here to teach you about the Polycom Studio, which is a new camera, speaker, and microphone combo that has been purchased for the 2020-2021 school year. The goal of today is to teach you how to set it up, take it out of the box, and use it with your first Zoom session. And what you'll notice is it's very, very quick and easy to do so. Think about how you would use this within your classroom, so we'll go over a few optimum classroom placement options. And then finally go through some advanced features as well as some troubleshooting. Now before I get started, I want to talk about the purpose of this camera. This camera was adopted to be able to increase your teaching abilities and release you from the laptop as much as possible. We know that this is not a silver bullet, and this is not going to replace the classroom experience that you know and that your students are used to, but we hope that this will at least improve the remote learning experience for students that are logging into your class remotely. What you'll notice is that this camera adds a few key features that are missing when you're using just your typical laptop and camera on the laptop. First off is that it's a much wider angle lens, so you're able to capture a much larger part of your classroom than you did before. The other part is that the enhanced microphone and speaker ability will give you the ability to step away from your laptop and move around to different parts of your virtual classroom. And then finally, it has some advanced features to actually follow you within the classroom if you wanted to use that ability. As I mentioned before, this is meant to be an enhanced experience for your students that are logging in remotely. If you at all find that this is cumbersome or it's not working for your classroom and you prefer or you're more comfortable to use your laptop's microphone and speaker as you did before, that's totally fine. We also hope that you'll feel comfortable in moving this around to different parts of your classroom or different classrooms, wherever your classroom may be this year, so that you can use this to your liking. So with that being said, let's get started with the most important part, and that is how to take it out of the box and use it in your first Zoom session. This first part is meant to be 2 to 3 minutes tops, so that by the time you get this device delivered to your classroom and you start using it in your first Zoom session, should be under 5 minutes. So let's get started. The Polycom Studio will come in a large cardboard box and does not need any installation or advanced setup. All you need to do is take every part out of the box and plug it into your computer. The first part that you're going to take out is the large camera. This is very similar to a speaker bar that you may install on your TV, and has 2 speakers, a microphone, and a camera built in. Next, you'll find a long power cable, as well as a long USB cable, so you can plug your laptop in from 10 to 15 feet away. Finally, you'll see a small remote that looks just like a television remote. Anything else in the box is unnecessary, although you may want to keep it for further use. You may find a bracket, some instructions, or other pamphlets, but these 4 items are all that you need. Place the camera bar on a table, and you'll notice the large camera in the center, 6 microphones on the top, and 2 speakers, 1 on each side. Turn the camera bar around and you'll find the plugs to plug in the power cable as well as the USB cable. The power cable is in the middle of the bar on the right side of the cutout. The USB cable is on the left side on the top. The USB has a traditional USB outlet on one side and then a USB-C on the other. The USB-C side, which is rounded, is plugged into the speaker bar. It doesn't matter which side you plug it in, it goes into both directions. Now plug the power cable into a wall outlet and you'll see lights on the speaker bar start to light up. Now plug the USB cable into your laptop. When it's all done, you only have 1 cable coming out of your laptop into the camera, and then a camera bar is plugged into the wall. That's it. So now I'm in my first Zoom meeting. I've got my camera plugged into my laptop and it's powered on, and I can see some lights on the top of the bar. What I'm going to do is switch over from my laptop camera, which is what I'm on now, to the Polycom Studio camera so you can see a difference. I've set this up so that the Polycom Studio is right above my laptop, and that will allow you to see the difference between the typical laptop camera and the Polycom camera. So what I'm going to do to switch over is to go down to where it says stop video, click the little up arrow, and select the Polycom Studio camera. Right away, you can see it's a much larger screen than before with my laptop camera, and you might also notice that it starts to move. What that is a little bit of tracking, and it's tracking where I am based in the room based on my audio and my face. So if I start to move over to the left side of my classroom, the camera will automatically follow me. It's got a very, very large angle lens, so you'll notice that it's very easy for you to step back from your laptop, continue teaching, and it will zoom and pan as you are teaching normally. The other thing is you might be wondering is how does it work with a mask? Because the tracking is using the audio and visual, it's able to still lock into my face and know exactly where I am in the room because it's hearing my voice talking and it's seeing me as I move around. So it does very well with a mask and without a mask.
The remote control has a few buttons, but there's a couple of very important ones to go over first. The very first button that you'll notice is the red triangle that has the mute icon. This mute button is integrated to Zoom, so it mutes you in Zoom and not just the speaker. This way you'll always know whether or not you're muted or unmuted in Zoom. Below and to the right of the mute button is the auto tracking button. Clicking this button will turn the auto tracking on or off depending on your preference. When this is turned off, you will then be able to use the up, down, left, and right buttons to move the camera manually. You can also use the zoom button to zoom in or out. Again, turning the auto tracking off is what allows you to manually control the camera.
Once you disable auto tracking, you can use the remote to move the camera back and forth manually, or you can use the zoom buttons to go in or out if you prefer. The other thing that allows you to do is set presets. What you're going to do is move the camera to where you want it to go using the buttons on the remote, then hold down the number 1 or number 2 button to set that angle as your preset. So here I've set number 1 as the camera on the wall, and I can quickly push the number 2 button to move back to me. So moving back and forth between presets allow you to put your day's objectives or maybe a whiteboard on the wall and then manually have the camera angle at that whiteboard if you're moving around or talking somewhere else in the room. You can always go back to having the camera follow you, click that button, it will back out, and then it will go back to tracking you based on the audio and visual cues that it sees.
Every classroom is different, and every teacher's teaching is unique. So we wanted to make sure that we brought in technology that fits your teaching style rather than forcing you to change to fit the technology. With this in mind, we want you to feel comfortable moving the camera to the place that works best for your teaching. We purposely chose a camera that can be moved so that this technology can adapt to changes in teaching settings. To help you figure out the best place for this camera in your teaching setting, I'll use a classroom diagram to cover some basic placement tips. Whether you have students in the classroom with you, or if you're teaching from an empty room, the placement of the camera is best when you consider it from the perspective of a student in a remote learning environment. You may prefer to place the camera so that it overlooks the classroom, although the auto tracking may not work as well if the teacher is far away, and this would also require your laptop to be on the other side of the classroom. Placing the camera at an angle where remote students can see their classmates may work for some scenarios, although I'd recommend turning the auto tracking off so that it does not automatically zoom in on the wrong person and cause distractions. Keep in mind that the auto tracking does not use facial recognition, therefore it can't tell the difference between the teacher and someone else in the room, which is why the ideal setting is to place the camera in between the students and the teacher. As I mentioned before, every classroom is different, and we recommend trying the camera out to find the best scenario for your teaching style and location. Whether you're using this camera from a classroom you've taught in for many years, or maybe bringing it to a location you never thought you'd have to teach from, we hope this camera will follow you and your teaching style and keep your students just a little more connected to your classroom. I'll leave you with some troubleshooting tips below the video, including how to pair the remote if it ever becomes disconnected, or using this camera with other video services like Google Hangouts. Thank you so much for spending time with us tonight and stepping out of your comfort zone just a little bit to try out a new technology. Thank you.